My best friend's boyfriend secretly expected me to be his backup plan, smirking, "You'll take me when she dumps me, right?" When I shut him down, he spread rumors that I was in love with him. But the day my best friend found his messages to other women, she threw a party, and the special announcement she made with screenshots in hand left him stuttering in pure terror. This happened last year, and it still doesn't feel real. It's long and messy. I'll try to keep it straight. So I, 33 female, live in Seattle. I work in architecture. I'm not the loudest or most dramatic person in the room, but I don't like being walked on either. I've always believed people show you who they are when you stop giving them what they want. That's exactly what happened here. My best friend, let's call her Nora, 33, and I met in college. We'd been close for over a decade. We've lived together before, traveled together, supported each other through job losses, breakups, family stuff. You name it. Nora started dating Brad, 34, about 2 years ago. Brad worked in tech. One of those product manager types with the personality of a talking LinkedIn profile. He talked big, acted confident, and had this weird smugness that was hard to place at first. From the beginning, I felt weird about him. Nothing I could put my finger on right away. He was just off. Like he was always playing a role. When he was around me, it felt like I was being watched instead of spoken to. But I ignored it. I wanted Nora to be happy. She was excited about him, so I kept my opinions to myself. For a while. The shift. It started slow. A compliment here and there. "You always look so sharp. You're so intimidating, it's kind of hot." Things like that. I thought maybe he was just awkward. I'd respond with something polite, change the subject. I figured he'd stop. He didn't. One night, we all went out for drinks, me, Nora, Brad, and a few others. Nora stepped outside to take a phone call. Brad leaned over and said, quietly, "She's great, but she's not going to last. You and me, though. That's long-term." I laughed because I thought it had to be a joke. But he didn't laugh back. Just gave me the slow, disgusting smirk. Then he said it. "You'll take me when she dumps me, right?" I froze. I didn't say anything at first. Then I said, "What the hell are you talking about?" He shrugged. "Come on. You and I have chemistry. You don't have to play dumb." I told him to shut up. Told him I wasn't interested. That it was gross and disrespectful. He smiled and said, "You'll change your mind." I didn't tell Nora that night. I wanted to. But I knew how it would look, no proof, just my word against his. And she loved him. I could already hear it. "Maybe you misunderstood." So I backed away, kept things short. Told Brad not to text me unless it was about group stuff. Thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. The rumors. About 2 weeks later, I noticed Nora being weird. She'd take hours to respond to texts. She stopped inviting me to things. Wouldn't meet for lunch like we used to. One day I ran into her at a bookstore. She looked through me like I wasn't there. I figured something was wrong, but I didn't push. Until a mutual friend, we'll call her Jess, messaged me and said, "Hey, not sure what's going on, but Brad told people you're obsessed with him?" I almost dropped my phone. Turns out, Brad had been going around saying I made a move on him. That I confessed I was in love with him. That I was bitter and trying to get between him and Nora. He told everyone in our friend group. People believed him. Because I had warned Nora once before about how flirty he was. That, plus me backing off suddenly, made it look like I had something to hide. I was livid. But more than that, I was hurt. I lost friends over this. People I'd known for years started giving me weird looks. Some flat out stopped responding to me. I cried more in those weeks than I'd like to admit. And Nora? She was gone. I sent her a long message explaining what happened. She read it. Never replied. So I stopped trying. 6 months later. Life moved on. Kind of. I started rebuilding. Found a new friend group. Went to therapy. Got promoted at work. Did a solo trip to Portland. Things were better, but I never really got closure. I didn't understand how someone I loved like a sister could cut me off that easily. Then, out of the blue, I got a text from Nora. "Can I call you?" It was late. I stared at my screen for a long time. I almost didn't answer. I picked up. She was crying. Really crying. Like you could barely understand what she was saying through the sobs. After a while, she got it out. She found out. She found out everything. The truth comes out. Apparently, Brad's phone was still synced to an old iPad she kept at her place. She was using it to watch Netflix and started getting text notifications. First one, then another. Then dozens. Messages to women. Photos. Voice notes. DMs. Even a couple saved contacts under fake names. It wasn't just casual cheating. It was bad. One of the women? Nora's cousin's roommate. Another? A coworker of hers. And one message, the cherry on top, said, "She's getting boring." I'll probably slide into her best friend's DMs again. She was into me. She screen recorded everything. For 3 hours, she scrolled through his messages. Every lie, every gross comment, every time he insulted her, every woman he messaged. And worst of all, the ones about me. He had told someone. Nora doesn't know, but her best friend tried to hook up with me. Crazy chick thought I'd leave Nora for her. She called me at 2 a.m., crying, apologizing. Said she believed everything I said now. Said she didn't know how she could ever make it up to me. I didn't even have the energy to be angry anymore. I just said, I told you. I didn't lie. We talked for a long time. I could tell she was broken. And I wanted to be mad. I had every right to be. But I missed her. Then she told me her plan. She wanted to throw a party. Not just any party. A housewarming and special announcement party. At her new apartment in Capitol Hill. She invited everyone. The same people who heard Brad's rumors. The ones who believed him. The ones who stopped talking to me. Even Brad himself. I was hesitant. It sounded like chaos waiting to happen. But Nora? She was dead serious. Calm. Collected. Cold. She said, you need to be there. Trust me. I said okay. I didn't know exactly what she had planned. Not yet. The night of the party, Seattle was doing its usual moody thing, light rain, sky like wet concrete. I showed up late on purpose. I didn't want to be the first face people saw. I also wasn't sure if I could go through with it. I was nervous. Not scared exactly, but exposed. Like I was walking into a room where everyone had once whispered behind my back. Nora's new apartment was beautiful. Exposed brick, open kitchen, fairy lights everywhere. She'd made snacks, poured drinks, had soft music playing. You wouldn't think anything dramatic was about to go down. But I saw the stack of papers sitting on the kitchen counter. Neat. Clipped. Organized. Printed screenshots. She was really going to do it. Brad showed up about 30 minutes after me. Wearing his standard uniform, button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up just enough to show off his CrossFit tattoo, Patagonia vest, and that smug walk like the room was his. He looked around, smiling like a politician at a fundraiser. He made eye contact with me. Gave me a nod. A wink. Like nothing had ever happened. My stomach turned. People kept coming in. Friends, coworkers, a few acquaintances from Nora's gym. Some looked surprised to see me there. A couple whispered. But nobody said anything to my face. I stayed quiet. Stayed near the edge of the room. Sipped my drink. Waited. Then Nora stood up. She tapped a fork on her glass, and the room quieted down. She smiled. Thanks everyone for coming. This has been such a wild year. Moving into this new place felt like a fresh start. So I thought, why not share it with all the people who've been in my life through it all? People clapped. Brad was standing behind her, one hand casually in his pocket, sipping from his beer like this was his victory lap. Nora took a breath. And then everything changed. I actually do have an announcement to make, she said. It's not what you think, though. The room quieted again. I'm not getting engaged. I'm not pregnant. I'm not starting a new job. She looked straight at Brad. I'm breaking up with Brad. Silence. Then a few gasps. Awkward laughs. Like people thought it was a joke. Brad smiled, chuckling, confused. Okay, what? Nora turned to the counter and picked up the stack of screenshots. She held it up. These are messages. Brad's messages. From the last 6 months. Some from dating apps. Some from text. Some from Instagram. Some from women in this very room. The laughter stopped. Dead quiet. You could feel the tension snap like a rubber band. She walked to the center of the room. Started reading out loud. I'm just buying time until she gets boring. You'll take me when she dumps me, right? Her best friend wants me, anyway. I'm the one with options. She turned and looked right at me after reading that one. Everyone else did too. My face felt hot, but I didn't look away. I stood there. Still. Let it land. Brad's mouth dropped open. His whole body stiffened. He tried to step forward. Nora. Babe. What are you doing? But she was ready. No. You don't get to speak right now. You lied. You cheated. You humiliated me. You lied about her. She pointed at me because you couldn't handle being rejected. People looked stunned. Some people were laughing. Others just stared at Brad like they'd never seen him before. He stammered. Wait, can we talk? No, she said. You had 6 months to talk. All you did was lie and run your mouth. She held up one last paper. This one's my favorite, she said. It's the message you sent my cousin's roommate. The one where you said I was cold and robotic and you were only staying because my best friend was hotter and might eventually come around. A woman in the corner, Amanda, Nora's coworker, spit out her drink. Another girl covered her mouth. Brad's face was white. He looked around the room like a trapped animal. That would have been enough. But it wasn't over. Because that's when one of the women stepped forward. I didn't recognize her at first. She was tall, maybe in her early 30s, with short curly hair and a black leather jacket. She held up her phone. "Are we doing this?" she said. "Cool. I've got one." She scrolled and pulled up a message. "You look like the kind of girl who doesn't ask too many questions. That's what I need right now. Someone who gets it." Everyone turned to look at her. Then back at Brad. Then a second woman stepped forward. "He told me he was single. Met him at a meetup for UX designers." A third one chimed in. "We matched on Bumble last month." I just stood there, frozen. I had no idea how deep this rabbit hole went. But it didn't stop there. Then the twist came. Nora pulled out her phone, connected it to her TV, and pulled up a video. Security camera footage. From her building's garage. In it, you could see Brad clearly with another woman. Kissing. Getting into the car with her. A timestamp from 2 weeks earlier. She said calmly, "This was 3 days after he told me he was working late and canceled dinner." People started booing. I've never actually seen a group of adults boo someone before, but it happened. Brad looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. He muttered something under his breath and started walking toward the door. But Nora wasn't done. "Wait." He froze. She handed him a small box. "Your stuff. I already packed it. You don't live here anymore." Someone opened the door for him. He walked out. But that's not where it ends. Because what none of us knew at that moment was what he'd already been planning behind Nora's back. And I mean planning next-level messed up stuff. And that was just about to come to light. After Brad walked out, people started talking in low voices, buzzing with shock. Some of them were still flipping through the stack of screenshots like they needed to double-check what they just saw. I thought that would be it. That he'd disappear quietly. Maybe go lick his wounds, move across town, start over. But of course, Brad being Brad, he had one last dirty card to play. And none of us saw it coming. 2 days after the party, Nora called me in a panic. "He's trying to get me fired." "What?" He emailed my HR department screenshots. I was speechless. Brad had gone through her messages, probably ones she sent while venting to me or close friends. He cherry-picked texts, twisted them out of context, and told her job that she was spreading confidential company information and targeting coworkers. He weaponized personal conversations. Emails. Group chats. He screenshotted a meme she sent joking about her boss during a bad Zoom meeting and framed it as harassment. It was malicious. Strategic. Calculated. Luckily, Nora had already spoken to her manager the morning after the party, just to be safe, and explained the situation. She showed them the proof she had. HR said they'd handle it, but we all know how that usually goes. She was shaken. She couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. "He's trying to take everything from me," she said. But it didn't stop with Nora. The same day, I got an anonymous email. No subject line. Just a burner Gmail. It had a PDF attached. Inside? A full-on fake email thread that looked like I had confessed to hooking up with Brad and planning to break up him and Nora. It was badly written, full of weird grammar. But my name was all over it. My email signature. Even fake timestamps. I could tell immediately it was doctored, but it still made my blood run cold. Someone was trying very hard to ruin me. I sent it to a tech-savvy friend who works in cybersecurity. He confirmed it was fake. Sloppy job. Someone tried to mimic your writing style using AI. Probably found an old work email thread and cut pieces together. And then he said something that made my skin crawl. This wasn't for fun. Whoever did this wanted it to look real, enough to pass a casual glance. This is someone who knows you. Who's mad. Obsessed. There was no question. It was Brad. The guy couldn't handle the truth getting out. So he switched tactics, no more whispers, no more rumors. Now it was full-blown digital sabotage. He'd lost Nora. Lost his image. Now he wanted to burn the rest down with him. But the weirdest part? That wasn't the end of it either. A week after the party, Amanda, the one who spit out her drink, texted me something strange. "Did you get a voicemail from a blocked number?" No. I got one. Said they had more information about you. Sounded like a guy pretending to be your ex. I checked my phone. Nothing. But by the next day, I got it too. A distorted voice like someone using a filter, saying, "You think she's a victim, but she's been playing people for years. She ruins lives. You should ask her ex what she really did." That's when I realized this was bigger than revenge. This was obsession. Brad had gone off the rails. I told Nora. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said something I won't forget. He was probably never trying to keep me. He was trying to control the narrative. And you were always in the way. That's when things clicked. All those months ago, When he first made that creepy comment, "You'll take me when she dumps me, right?" It wasn't just about attraction or arrogance. It was about control. Backup plans. Power plays. He never expected I'd say no. And once I did, he decided to destroy both of us. But it still wasn't over. Because someone, still don't know who, leaked part of the screenshots to a Reddit thread. No names were attached, but people started guessing. Linking clues. Someone figured out Brad's Instagram handle. Someone else matched dates from a work event Nora had posted about. Then came a flood of comments. Is this about that tech guy in Seattle who faked cancer for PTO? Wait, is this the guy who got banned from that dating app for stalking? It was like people had stories. Their own mini horror tales about Brad. And suddenly it wasn't just about Nora or me. It was about everyone he'd stepped on over the years. But the final twist, the one that made my heart stop, came one night when I opened my front door and found an envelope on my doormat. No return address. No postage. Someone had hand-delivered it. Inside was a printout of my LinkedIn page, with my college graduation photo, old address, and the phrase, "Good girls make easy targets," written in Sharpie. We weren't just dealing with a bitter ex. We were dealing with someone unraveling, but still calculating enough to scare us without breaking any laws. Yet. And now we were running out of time to do something before he crossed a line that couldn't be undone. After I found the envelope on my doorstep, I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the floor, phone in hand, staring at that one line written in Sharpie, "Good girls make easy targets." I wasn't scared. I was done. Done being polite. Done being careful. Brad wanted control. He thought fear would make us back down. He didn't expect that fear would turn into rage. So I called Nora. He left something on my doorstep. It was personal. Threatening. She was quiet for a few seconds. Then she said, "I'm calling Amanda." Amanda, it turns out, had something she hadn't shared yet. She worked for a startup in cybersecurity, and she'd started collecting digital fingerprints of everything Brad had sent or forged. The messages, the fake emails, the filtered voicemail. She'd been archiving them and comparing metadata. What she found made my skin crawl. The fake email confession Brad had sent to people under my name? He'd written it weeks before Nora even found the cheating messages. Before the party. Before the public humiliation. He'd already started plotting my destruction, just in case. This wasn't revenge. This was preparation. In his mind, I'd rejected him. I'd seen too much, and if the relationship with Nora ever ended, I was going to be his first problem to eliminate. He had tried to burn the bridge before it caught fire. We decided enough was enough. Nora invited everyone from the party, and more, to a second gathering. This time, no snacks. No fairy lights. Just hard truth. She told everyone it was a follow-up. People were curious, even eager. Word had gotten out about Brad's behavior. Some folks even brought others who said they had run-ins with him. It felt more like a town hall than a party. We held it at Amanda's office. She had a conference room with a screen and access to her server setup. Brad, like clockwork, showed up. Arrogant as ever. He looked like he thought he was walking into a negotiation. He even smiled when he saw me. I figured this was going to happen, he said like he was ready to charm his way out. Nora stood up. "This isn't a mediation," she said. "You're not walking out with dignity. Sit down." Something in her voice must have cut him, because for once, he shut up. Amanda turned on the projector. And for the next 45 minutes, she presented everything. The forged email metadata, the altered timestamps, the voicemail sent from a modded burner app, a digital trail that traced directly back to his IP, his own words admitting he needed to get ahead of the story when Amanda dropped the final screen. An email he'd accidentally sent from his work laptop that included a reference to me as the fire starter. The room went cold. Someone in the back, one of his exes, let out a dry laugh. Unreal. That's when Brad lost it. He stood up, slammed the table, and yelled, "I didn't do anything. You're all just bitter and bored. You wanted to believe this stuff. You all need someone to hate." His voice cracked. Face red. Jaw shaking. "You don't get it," he spat, looking at me. "You played this whole thing like a game. You knew I liked you. You wanted to be wanted. You let it happen." I stood up. "You said I'd take you when Nora dumped you. You said she wouldn't last. You thought I was a backup plan. You lied. About me. About Nora. About everyone." He stepped forward. "You led me on. Nora stepped between us. No. She shut you down. You just couldn't handle it." The room was dead silent. Then, a voice from the door said, "I just called building security." It was Amanda's boss. Brad turned. Looked around the room like a hunted animal. But there was nowhere to go. He didn't fight. He just walked out. Slow, limping like something inside him had finally snapped under its own weight. He hasn't tried to contact me since. But I check my locks. I stay aware. Just in case. The aftermath? It was messy. Some people apologized. Some quietly removed themselves. Others tried to spin it. I didn't really believe Brad, but Nora and I knew who had sat on the sidelines. Who had chosen comfort over truth. Nora quit her job a month later. Started freelance writing. Says she's the happiest she's been in years. We still talk almost every day. But it's not the same. Not like before. Some scars don't show, but they're there. As for me, I got offered a new position, same field, but remote. I moved out of Seattle. Somewhere quieter. I go hiking now. I read more. I sleep better. But sometimes I still replay that moment in my head. That smirk. That line. You'll take me when she dumps me, right? I wish I'd said more that day. I wish I'd called him out then and there. But maybe it had to unfold this way. Maybe some people need to fall apart in front of everyone to ever be seen for who they really are. I don't feel victorious. I feel clear. There's no perfect ending here. Just this. Some people are poison dressed as charm. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do, for yourself and for others, is to walk away the second you taste it.